Thought for the day. No pressure, no diamonds.
Welcome to 7 Minutes for Yourself. I'm Christina Aina, and I'm so glad you've joined me for what I believe will be 7 of the most enriching minutes of your day. Let's take this time to reconnect with ourselves and improve our well-being.
In today's episode of 7 Minutes for Yourself, we're discussing how to move from good to great and propel ourselves into unstoppable success. Have a listen.
Whatever you dream of, which we'll talk about in our 5th big idea, whatever dreams you have for your life, that in your quiet moments when you're rested, you're inspired, you're optimistic, and you know you can do, that's what you're here to do. Go do it relentlessly, right? So anyway, that's the theme of the book. Philosopher's Note, bunch of my favorite big ideas, 5 of them here. Let's start at the top. Good to great to unstoppable. Tim has a fun way to break that down. He says, if you're good, he calls those people a cooler. If you're great, you're a closer. If you are unstoppable, you're what he calls a cleaner. A closer will show up and they'll be able to close out games, but a cleaner, the unstoppable person, shows up moment to moment to moment with a relentless obsession to be their absolute best. Right? The first thing we need to do is we need to move past this whole, meh, I'm good enough, which is exactly what we talked about in Chasing Excellence. Ben Bergeron, right? Ultimate, or one of the best CrossFit Games coaches. What does he teach his champions? 12 character traits. The first one, commitment. You have to move past the, meh, I'm good enough. Most people feel the work required to push that big boulder up the mountain of greatness, and they say, whatever, meh, I'm good enough. And Grover, all these great teachers. Primary point is that can't be good enough. You need to get curious about what greatness looks like. And then he says, continue to evolve into what are you capable of? Move from one level to the next relentlessly. And when I looked up the word relentless in the dictionary, right, one of the words used to define relentless is incessant, right? So the relentless heat of the desert, right? Incessant. If you look at the etymology of the word incessant, it literally means without ceasing, right? In Latin, without cessation, without stopping, ceaseless. What's interesting is my coach, Phil Stutz, that's one of the words he uses most often in our work together, one-on-one. He says we need to have a ceaseless immersion in the process of, to use my words, actualization. To use his words, you're ceaselessly fighting part X, that part of you that wants to pull you down from your ultimate potential. And you need to relentlessly battle that if you want to experience your ultimate potential. So that is our first idea. Moving from good to great to unstoppable, you got to be willing to walk away from the whole meh, good enough, and relentlessly commit. Which leads us to our second big idea here. Before we get there, though, context. The book is organized around 13 principles. He calls them relentless. Tim calls them relentless 13, right? 2 funny things about that. One, he came up with 13 of them because he doesn't believe in luck. He believes in hard, relentless work, not luck. And the second funny thing is, it's not, his principles aren't 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They're number one. His point being, they're all essential. If you want to move beyond greatness to being unstoppable, these are the principles you need to embrace. So anyway, one of the next ones, we're skipping one I talk about in the note, which is do the work. Work harder than everyone else around you, which we'll talk about a little bit in a different context in a moment. But for now, we'll talk about pressure. He says to his athletes, pressure. We want to move toward pressure. He says this whole idea that stress is bad is wrong. We need that stress in order to be energized, to be our absolute best self. We got to feed on it. And science says the same thing. Kelly McGonigal, The Upside of Stress, she says, and we discuss in those notes, that how you perceive your stress will literally dictate how you physiologically respond to that stress. You can have either a threat response or a challenge response. If you have a threat response, that means that you think of stress and you say, oh man, that's killing me. Well, guess what? Your physiology will reflect that belief. But if you look at the same exact stress differently and you say, you know what? This is forcing me to be my absolute best self, right? No pressure, no diamond style. This stress, this pressure is what I need to actualize my potential. Then you don't have a threat response. You have what's called a challenge response, which has a totally different physiological makeup than your threat response. Knowing this, we need to, again, as we talk about all the time, we need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. There's you, there's your comfort zone, right? Inside that comfort zone, it feels what? Comfortable. It's awesome. By definition, how does it feel the moment you leave your comfort zone, even if it's just a little bit outside? Well, by definition, being outside your comfort zone is, of course, uncomfortable, right? But Grover and all great teachers tell us you better get really comfortable. If you're serious about tapping into your potential, get really, really, really comfortable playing right here, being uncomfortable, right? And so you need to say pressure, pressure, pressure. Rather than saying stop, I feel stress, you say go. Adam Grant says that in Originals, right? My coach again, Phil Stutz, his thing is a mantra, bring it on. Pain sets me free, that discomfort. That's where my infinite potential exists. Therefore, I want to reverse my desire. I don't want to curl up in a ball and wish life was easy. I want to wish for the strength to deal with more pressure.
That concludes today's episode of 7 Minutes for Yourself. Please take a moment to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts. Today and every day with your kiddo is a gift. Enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in.